Hello and welcome to the MegaMonsterCast. I am Nick. With me is Alex.
Hello, everybody.
And today we are going to be doing Alex's introduction to Kamen Rider because that sounded like a fun one.
Wow. Did you pull these out of a hat? What happened?
So I went with the original Kamen Rider. I went with Kamen Rider Black, which is like that was the first Rider series that like most people had exposure to. That was like for Latin America, that was like the Kamen Rider. Like that was the one that was brought over to like Latin America when they did Power Rangers. Black RX was the one that, which is the sequel to Black, was the one that got the Power Rangers treatment and kind of failed. Kuuga was the first one of the 2000s after they had taken a hiatus. And then Zero One was the first one of the Reiwa uh, age, I guess. When Emperor Reiwa
Okay.
took over, it was the first one that was airing for that.
Oh, it's defined that way. Okay.
Yep,
All
yep.
right.
They're defined by who the fucking Emperor of Japan is.
Okay. I
The
did not
most,
know that was the scheme, but
yep, yep. It's the most
sure.
archaic system possible. All right, we're gonna go with whoever from this fucking family is in charge at the time.
I mean, it's kind of like naming your eras anyways, like the dynasties in China. So I mean, I guess it's not too far off the beaten path, but okay.
Yep. All right, so
Not like the director or the production company. Nothing like that.
no. I mean, if you want to go with production company, I think it's Toei, and that's it.
Oh, okay. So it's less meaningful. All right.
Yep, yep. Uh,
Anyway.
but yeah, so you you got an exposure from the first one you watched was 1971, I believe, and
Okay.
Zero One is 2020, 2019, 2020, somewhere around there.
The tonal shift between those two specifically
Yep.
is insane.
Oh yeah.
The tone, I mean, just the tone. Like, also, where was my spider in number four? What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah. That was like the
Why?
one. That was the one bummer.
Why did I not get a spider?
Yep.
I was waiting for it. The whole time I'm like, okay, it's gonna be no him, no, no, no. Oh, this one's no, he's not a spider.
Nope.
Maybe the tracker's a spider. Maybe the symbol's a spider. I started like looking for like the bat symbol places.
Speaking of, Bat is usually the second episode for every one of them.
No way, is it really?
Yep. There's like a motif usually where it's
Okay.
usually like spider, then bat, then cobra, and that's usually what they go with.
All right. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not upset at any of the animal choices. I'm just surprised that there's like literally like, okay, here's the formula. And then once you do Cobra, you can do what you want, bud.
Yep.
But you gotta get the spider bat cobra going on.
It's for real. That's like a solid motif they've gone with for so many of the shows. Where like
I was
after the first
I was
one,
genuinely surprised.
I was gonna say after the first one, like, okay, so we've got this three. What if we did that again? And what if we did that again? And what if we did
You
that
know,
again?
it's like George Lucas said. It rhymes. It's
Oh yeah.
poetry.
Oh dude, 100%. Like there's a lot of homage to the original like three enemies for Ryder in a bunch of these shows. Which I mean, obviously you saw considering both Black and Kuuga have spiders as their first villains.
Yeah, and what continued to be surprising to me was that even in Kuga, the the strand, the spider web
Yep.
was still like uh Walmart spider material,
Yep.
like the things you get on Halloween. Like it was very clearly just like this cottonized fabric.
Oh yeah.
It
Oh
was
yeah.
it was fantastic. It got the point across. I was just like, okay, they're sticking with the bit.
Yep. So this was one that you haven't. Well, we'll talk about the ones that you watched in a second here. So there's
Yeah.
one that I'm gonna bring up that I like the way they played with that motif in this show. Kamen Rider Revice, which was 2 years ago. Instead of having the villains be the spider, bat, and cobra,
Was
the
it
the
a cobra bat spider?
no, the first three allies he gets are bat, spider, and cobra themed.
All right, let's
Yep,
go.
yep. His first ally that he gets is a spider themed rider. Then the
Oh my
villainous
god, does he
bat.
form a does Kamen Rider usually form a bike gang?
Sometimes it's happened.
Awesome.
Yep, yep. No, so usually like so the first one that he teamed up with was like a spider themed rider, and then the villain bat rider turns sides and like joins up with them, and then a cobra
Wow.
rider shows up. Yep. Oh yeah, no,
All
it's
right. You
great.
know, it subverts your expectations. Now your enemies have become your friends. I
Yep,
love it.
yep.
I love it.
So obviously
I
you
mean,
notice.
I guess these still count as kaiju, right? I mean, spider people.
Yeah. So this is where we're stretching it a tiny bit. So and I alluded to this a little bit with our kaiju number 8. I don't know if that was in
Mhm.
the first recording that got fucked or the second one, but so this stretches it like with Kafka. They call him a kaiju. I'd say he's more of a kaijin, which is like a humanoid, like human-sized kaiju.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
I was thinking, like I guess I've never heard kaijin before, but like, can you not like wouldn't what do you call the flying kaiju in kaiju number 8? Like, is it like I don't know much
mhm,
Japanese, but I do know some Spanish. Like it'd be like something like
kaijito.
you'd put the ito
Yep,
suffix on it,
yep,
like a monsterito. I don't know the word for monster in Spanish, but
yeah.
like little monster. Like, are there? I don't know.
I would have to do more research.
I've had my definition of kaiju go from it's got to be a Godzilla sized to, oh, it can be any size, to maybe there's definitional size classes here. So which is it?
I mean, that's something to play around with a little bit, and we'll
Okay,
eventually do a deep
fine.
dive on that, I'm sure.
We need to do like an explainer video for that, and because I can't be the only person with this question.
Oh, dude, no, it's a pretty common question, I feel like, and eventually, so I'm sure like my working definition is not the accurate one, but that's like the one
You've
where
got like
like
is it like a headcanon
yeah,
thing?
yeah, where I'm like,
Okay,
okay, I've heard these used enough. I think I have like a general idea of what they fall into, but I could be completely fucking wrong.
sure,
Mhm.
sure, man.
All right,
Uh,
so
we need to do that deep dive though. Look out for that in the future.
oh yeah, so let's talk about. Obviously, you noticed a similarity between the first three with the spider.
But I think you used the word motif, and I think I would too.
Mhm.
So and I also noticed the motif of the grasshopper. Um, is Kamen Rider grasshopper themed, or is that specific to his vehicle?
So, of the four that you watched, so
Because he's insectoid, right?
yep. So, I mentioned this, but I'm going to go over. So, for Alex's video watching today, he had to watch the first episodes of Kamen Rider, Kamen Rider Black, Kamen Rider
Yep.
Kuuga, and Kamen Rider Zero One. 3 of the 4 of those are grasshopper themed. One is beetle.
Which one was Beetle?
Kuga's a beetle technically.
Kuuga was Beetle.
Yeah, he has like the
Huh.
stag beetle thing going on.
Oh, instead of the antennae, he
Yep,
had kind of the horns.
yep.
Okay. Is that why the spider villain was like, I remember the horns are smaller than I remember, or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
So if you ever watch episode 2, he like the form that he takes in the first episode, the white form, is called his growing form.
He looked like, I think Kuga had the most Power Rangers aesthetic to
Mhm.
me. Like the suit felt very like um I had this action figure of a Spider-Man and I can't remember which the Spider-Man suit is in the 2016 Spider-Man
Yeah.
game, where he's got like silver armor and all that, but he kind of looks super generic, like just like very action figure-y.
Yeah. Kind of like an Iron Spider type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, but not the like the Scarlet Spider
Mhm.
or the Iron Spider that's like red and gold. He
Yeah.
was black and silver.
Okay.
Um, it was like in the edgy '90s verses, but uh, it kind of reminded me of that crossed with the Power Rangers.
Yep.
Like the suit was cool. I actually really dug the aesthetic, but it was like the little white thing on the back of his wrist. I was
Yep.
just like, okay.
Oh yeah.
That's something I would have totally done. That's like 12-year-old me was into it.
Hmm.
It's something I would have done it like, oh yeah, the 12-year-olds are gonna love this shit.
Oh yeah. No. And okay, so not only that, so with our video about Ultraman, we talked about how like Tiga had like the 3 form change.
Yeah.
Kuuga has more.
Does okay.
Kuuga, so
I kind of bought that, yeah.
yeah, so his growing form is the form he takes on when like he's still nervous about his powers and when he's first getting used to them. He eventually in episode 2 he gets his I believe it's mighty form, which is it's a red version. The horns are a little bit bigger too.
The Mighty Morphin form.
Yep. uh so he gets a red form, he gets a blue form, a green form, and a purple form.
Can he choose to switch between them?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have you know that after we recorded our last episode on Ultraman, specifically talking about Tiga,
Mhm.
I ended up going back and watching the Tournament of Power episodes with that character. It's totally a reference.
Oh yeah, it's 100%.
Totally a reference. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
So
so
is that Mighty Morphin ability trademark isolated to Kuuga?
no, so touching on that, so Kuuga is the first one that did no, actually Black is the first one that does that. Not in Black,
Oh,
in the sequel
I don't think they
series.
showcased it in the first episode.
So Black for just Black, he the form you see is the form he has. Then in
Yeah.
Black RX, which is the sequel, he evolves and gets the ability to switch between 3 forms.
Oh, okay. So we're not gonna see that in this series, but in the continuation series.
Yep.
Okay, which happened before Kuuga.
Yep. So
Okay.
those were both in the 80s, I believe, if I'm remembering right.
Oh man, the soundtrack definitely made me feel like I was in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
It
But
was
yeah,
good.
so then you'll see that in like Kuuga does it. The next series after Kuuga, Agito does that. Then we get like forms depending on the show based on like it happens again in Deno and Kiva, which Kiva's this guy right here. He's vampire themed.
Okay, what?
Oh yeah.
So not Kuuga, but Kamen Rider is a bat themed thing now in that series.
So a lot of Kamen Rider is based on like insects. So the first Kamen Rider is a grasshopper. There's a few more that are like bug themed. The first time they introduce like a not bug themed one is in Kamen Rider Amazon, where he's a monitor lizard themed one, I think.
Okay, so they're not really sticking to the insect kingdom. Like they'll go into reptiles, they'll go into mammals.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll start to see like as the franchise goes on, like you get other motifs like let's see, Hibiki is Oni themed, Kiva is vampire.
Oni thing.
Yep.
That might be cool.
Oh, dude.
Now we've just gone far afield.
Dude, his suit is fucking rad. Like it's great. Deno is train themed. So he has train tracks on his chest and like a train car comes up over his head to form what his visor is going to be.
What?
Yeah, yeah, and like depending on which
Yeah,
form he takes, he has a different train car like dock onto his head, basically.
I didn't think we were gonna get farther afield than Oni from what we were already doing. I was wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no,
yeah,
like they
just
get
wrong.
one is like rings, where like his
Now we're
head.
just getting into abstract things.
No, that one works because that's wizard and he's using magic rings.
What is the basis for this? I mean,
Oh no, it starts to like it goes off the rails pretty fucking quick.
okay.
Saber is books, so you put like books in your belt.
Well, I mean, freaking Zero One had a graphics card for a belt.
Yep. Oh, dude. Yeah, no, it gets pretty crazy. Um,
It was pretty silly.
yep.
Though I was really curious, like I guess we want to start with the first one. Like it felt like we were setting up for this to be a like speed racer-esque story.
Hmm.
Like like a biker gang, speed racer, some sort of anime in that realm. And then it went into
Then
monsters and
and like human
kaiju like
experimentation.
yeah, the cyborg thing went like they escalated really quick from biker gang is gonna get you
Yep.
to secret Illuminati organization replaced most of your body. Now we're gonna have this drama around that.
Yep. Yeah, no, it it escalates pretty quickly in that show.
I thought that we were gonna get that theme of cyborgs more, but I think they dropped that after
It's
the 80s, I guess.
uh so that depends.
No,
uh,
no.
it really depends because I can think of at least one rider from like 2018, 2019 who was a cyborg.
Okay. So they'll call back to it then.
Hmm.
I guess I guess then why is there more like backstory to the Kamen Rider name? Like I didn't really
It
get a whole lot of reason to
common means masked.
Masked Rider.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so it's like this is like Ghost Rider or the Headless Horseman, but this version.
kind of, yeah. So the way that this franchise was created was uh Ishinomori, who was the creator of it, had a manga series called Skull Rider.
Okay, sounding like Ghost Rider.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. And he had tried to option it to be adapted into a television show because he wanted to make that sweet weekly TV show money.
Oh yeah, that's silly Monopoly money. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotcha.
And he was met with, "We like your work. We want to
But
work with you, but
there it is.
Skullman is a little bit too scary for like a weekly Monster of the Week show.
So
Can
what
you
about
retool
Buggy?
this?" And so instead, yeah, he went with, "All right, well, how about instead I'll go with a masked rider instead of a skull rider, and he'll be themed off of a grasshopper." And that's kind of how
Okay,
that worked. Yep.
all right. I can see that being a production choice.
Oh yeah. I think like I'm considering like it started in the 70s and like currently they are airing a show right now that worked out for them.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so.
Don't get me wrong, sometimes it gets fucking weird, but whatever.
It started out a little weird.
Oh yeah, no, it starts out very weird. The Spider-Man in the first episode with the fucking although that's just what he looks like in like almost every appearance. He always looks weird.
I think
Every
the
take.
costume for the Spider-Man got a little bit more sophisticated as time went on, but no, it never got out of that uncanny valley area.
Uh when we get to Shin Kamen Rider, it does. Because, spoiler alert, Shin Kamen Rider uses the exact same fucking motifs.
Why am I not surprised?
Fun fact, Shin Kamen Rider is a direct remake of this first Kamen Rider series.
Oh, God.
So you have the origin already in place.
It's one of those, this is what they wanted to make kind of ordeals.
It's more of this is what the guy that made Evangelion pictured when he watched the show.
Oh, even better.
Yep.
It has that little interpretation on top.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, so let's hit the ground on this one. What did you think about the shows?
They weren't quite as fun as Ultraman to me.
That's fair.
I didn't have one that I really resonated with, like Ginga. Because I swear to God, that was amazing. But I definitely thought that I could watch Kuuga and Zero One and actually enjoy them. I actually, oddly enough, I think I liked the action in the very first one the most.
Okay.
It felt really paced well, and like he was actually doing some legit martial art moves.
Oh yeah.
So I was into that. It felt very well choreographed. I think Black was the weirdest. I'm really surprised that that's the onboarding for most people, and especially like the onboarding for the Latin America audience. That one, like for the first 10 minutes, I was like, dude, you gotta slow down.
Oh yeah, no, that one just immediately, like, it doesn't hit the ground running. It hits the ground on a motorcycle going 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, like we open on our protagonist already above the speed limit.
Yep.
That one was nuts. It finally did kind of bring it back around, but I really didn't like the effects in it. I didn't like the whole opening battle between Kamen Rider and the three floaty robed like Gore the God Butchers.
Yep, the weird priests.
Yeah. One of them, I swear this bothered me the whole time I was watching Kamen Rider Black. One of the three looked like he was literally draped in, especially like when they framed him from the top. He was draped in an entire mattress set, and it looked like he had asked the costuming department to like, hey, this is a little too much and all that, and they go, no, we just can't cut it. You have to go out like that.
Yep.
It looked insane.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think that was probably the biggest downer of them all. And other than that, I think the weirdest thing was Zero One, and I think Kuuga to a lesser extent, really felt like an anime in live action.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
There was some absurdism that I know I would have looked past if it had been animated, but the fact that it was live action, it took me out of it. Like the moment when specifically in Zero One, when and I forget her name, the Humagear that helps him
is
yeah.
Yep.
When she shows up and then just negs the shit out of him, and the next time we see him, he is face down on the ground, facing the camera. That was funny. It would have been funnier in animation.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, I kind of got like Ginga levels of absurdism from Zero One, and I think that's what made it a little bit more charming to me. Though the graphics card belt was just insane. Like it was like 6 inches of depth off of his belt. I felt really bad for the stunt actor.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so fun fact about Zero One. Zero One is written, so each one of these shows had like a different head writer. That shocker, over the course of like 50 years they're going to have different head writers for shows.
I think that would be more common than not, right?
Yeah. Usually every season has a different head writer, but you'll get like some people who come back to write more than one season. So the writer for
Sure.
Zero One has written 2 other Kamen Rider shows as the head writer. He's also written Kamen Rider X-Aid, which uses the motif of retro video games.
Okay. I
And
bet I'd enjoy that one. That feels very like honestly, the fact that this entire season of Zero One seems to be like based around automatons and AI and things like that.
mhm.
Having this person be a gamer and use gaming as part of another season, I could have I would have only needed one guess.
So the other one he did was Kamen Rider Geats, which is very easily watchable in the United States. Fun fact. That one is based off of modern video games. Yep. So it's based
Didn't
off of
need a
like
guess.
it's
Didn't
like
need a guess.
yeah. So it's based off of like Fortnite, so you can get like power ups and stuff, and it's based off of like weirdly Squid Games. Squid Games also influenced it.
Wow, so it's pretty recent then,
Oh no,
because
it's
Squid
super.
Games
It's last year's.
happened. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it was last year's Kamen Rider. So anyone who wants to
Wow.
watch
So
that, it's pretty easy to watch. Get on Tubi.
so does so does Japan have the same kind of problem that we have here in the States of there's no such thing as a new IP ever?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's really unfortunate.
I mean, it happens. Uh,
I guess we're all out of ideas. There's only 12 notes in the 12 tone system, so I guess we're all out of music too.
yep. um. So anyway,
Terrible.
so I mentioned in our Ultraman episode that all of like the 3 big like monster shows in Japan have won this prestigious equivalent to like the Hugo in
There you
Japan.
go.
Which one do you
Yeah.
think won it for Rider? Because you've watched the first episode of the one that won it for Rider.
Damn, I was thinking of this when I was watching, and I can't remember which one I thought. God, I'll say Kuga.
Yeah,
Oh, right,
yeah,
two for
good job.
two.
Yeah, yeah, good job. Kuga was the winner.
Wow.
Yep. Which you can kind of
Uh,
understand that, like
I thought it was
Tiga.
really good. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I definitely bought that. But go ahead with your explanation.
Well, I was gonna say Tiga and Kuga were released like pretty close together, '96 and 2000,
Oh,
and
okay.
they both deal with a lot of similar themes, in my opinion, like an ancient warrior from the past being resurrected in modern times
Yeah,
by a
again, I
new
think
host.
that's the thing that stood out to me about Kuga and Tiga. Like I said in the last episode, that it felt very geographically conscious. You know, like the ancient mythology mixed with current geology. They felt very similar to each other, so that stood out to me about Kuga.
Yep. Well, not only that, but eventually Kuga's whole color change thing definitely also apes off of Tiga, in my opinion. Not in a bad way,
Yeah.
but like it's clear there's like a little bit of crossover in terms of
Hmm.
motif that way.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I mean, if something worked, why not try to? I mean, like that's the people get really caught up in like, oh, well, this copied that, and it's like, you know, imitation is the highest form of flattery, and you really don't like you don't start making your own music, you start imitating other people's music.
Hmm.
I mean, that's that's fine, you
Yep.
know?
Uh,
And we keep doing this nostalgia bit, so just
yep.
go with it.
So,
I think the spider in Kuga. I think I liked the spider in Black better than Kuuga? Let me see if I can pull
That's
a
fair.
picture.
I think
Just from a costume design.
I think the spider in Kuuga is one of the weaker designs. I think there's a lot of better ones in Kuuga. Like the very next episode, you get a much better design, in my opinion, with the Bat Grongi.
Bat Grongi is a great name.
Oh yeah. So they have names, but for the life of me, it's fucking difficult to remember the names of like the Grong. So the Grongi are the monsters in Kuuga. You eventually learn more about them, and they're like this ancient clan of like monster men, basically.
Mm-hmm. But you're so good with all the monster names for Ultraman.
Oh well,
And that's
dude.
a Monster of the Week cereal.
Yeah, but like I'm not gonna remember like Zay something or other. Zay is the name, because like they have like different sub clan names, and then they have like a denotion of like who they are within their clan. And it's like, all right, cool. There's like, they have 3 names for each one of them, and you have to remember all 3 to get it right. But yeah, so I want to bring up an interesting fact about Kuuga. So Kuuga brought in 2 large demographics for viewers. I want you to try to guess what the 2 large demographics were.
For Kuuga?
Mm-hmm. Because Kuuga had like an interesting split on demographics.
Well, you said that Black brought in the Latin American audience.
Well, and I'm going to say specifically in Japan, it brought in 2 very specific demographics.
Like what kind of class are we talking about? Or can you give me a hint?
So I'm just going to say like the general TV demographics that like the US does, where it's like, oh, the like 18 to 35, and like the like
Age demographics.
Age and gender demographics. Who do you think that
Age
this
and
show brought
gender.
in?
Well, that would imply that they weren't already fans, right?
Mhm.
So my guess would be female. And my demographic, and my age demographic, what is it, 25 to 40?
Couldn't tell you specifically how Japan does it.
Yeah, but like above 25, but not older.
You would be correct on that.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Is there
Specifically,
some reasoning behind that?
so mothers who would watch the show with their kids.
Wow. Okay, so I was literally spot on with both.
No, they started watching it on their own because they thought the actor who played Kuuga was really fucking hot. He's considered a sex symbol in Japan.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I liked the actor, though he was kind of oddly gangly. I don't
Yep.
know. I'm not trying to like judge his appearance too much, but like I buy it.
Yep. He's
Maybe it was the leather pants.
he's considered to be like a really good looking dude, and like they liked his character type in Kuuga, where he's just like a positive, like nice, respectful man.
Oh wow! And like I was gonna say, the if only being a positive male figure was a good thing.
I mean,
Like,
hey, it's Japan.
He was pretty. Yeah, well, we have that kind of shit here. It's like, oh, why do you like him? Because he was a nice person. Is that really all that it takes? Yeah, because there's a lot of shitty dudes out there, and there's a lot of shitty dude archetypes.
Yep.
Like a lot of the protagonists in media, like if you really look at it without you separate yourself from the media and look at the person who is playing the protagonist in like a good portion of like 70s, 80s, 90s films, even further on, they're just assholes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But you don't think about it while you're watching the movie, so you make this false connection. Anyways.
Yep. All right.
So yeah, it's nice that he got that kind of popularity for being a good person, like positive male role models. Let's go.
Literally.
Absolutely.
Because no, I'm doing the thumbs up because that's what he does every fucking episode.
Is that because he did do it in this one?
No, it's every episode. His signature like stance is a thumbs up. To the point where, like, I have the model for him too, and it comes with a hand that's just giving the thumbs up that you can put on him.
Gotta have it.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have it. I love that.
Yep. So let's hit on what you thought about. So obviously we talked a little bit about the action and how like the pacing for the action in the first Kamen Rider was one you kind of thought was like pretty solid. What did you think about the pacing? Well, and that Black obviously hit the ground fucking dead ass sprint.
So I think that a common theme with the first Kamen Rider in Black for me about pacing was that the first 10 minutes were insane on both. And like I will never forget the bit where he's in the first Kamen Rider where he's being boxed in by these two groups of bikers and he's in the middle and he goes, and the next shot we see is him flying on his bike and I'm like, I can't do that on a bicycle. How did he do this? He's already a cyborg from frame one. You cannot tell me I'm wrong.
No, he's a professor.
He has some bionic legs or bionic arms or something, but he just very casually just like, and goes.
No, he's an intellectual. He's an academic who is also a motorcyclist, so he has special feats.
I love that too, like the bit where the professor's like, and no one would believe that he's a blah 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 at this university, and I'm like, okay, wow, stroke yourself a little bit harder. And then like the next scene, they're like, we're looking for someone with an IQ of 600. I'm like, that's not a thing.
That is a floating brain. That is the brains from Futurama.
Like firstly, the IQ test is literally the average is set at 100. So the the IQ test fluctuates with the population's intelligence. Like it's a relative intelligence test, not a empirical intelligence test. So ain't no fucking way 600's on that goddamn dial. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, no.
That was insane. When I saw that and we're looking for an IQ of 600, I'm like, you don't understand the IQ scale, for one.
Yep.
It's big number, go smart. But that was, yeah, the first 10 minutes or so when they're setting up the cyborg aspect of Kamen Rider and Kamen Rider Black, the pacing was nuts. After that, it really started to like get into its own groove, and both episodes really were much better after about like the 10-minute mark.
What, you mean you don't want to learn about how a cult is making their cyborg messiah?
I'm fine with it. It was just insane. It could have been paced out better because like in Black they literally do it as a flashback.
Yep. Which, okay, so they refer to him as their black son.
Black Sun, yeah, S-U-N.
Yep. No, it's not like they just gonna make a real fuck up joke. Nope, not gonna do that.
Don't do this.
Nope. But no. So they also had so something that I appreciate with Black, and I think that's something that a lot of people liked is so for like the first bunch of Kamen Riders, it's usually like one guy who gets experimented on. But Black sets up almost immediately with that they took two people. They took their Black Sun and their Shadow Moon.
Oh, okay. So Shadow Moon was the name for his brother.
Yep.
And this was all instigated by his father.
Yep. Because his father's a real fuck up.
Yeah, what an asshole.
Oh yeah. No, that's gonna be another thing you're gonna learn. Like, Kamen Rider has a big fucking problem with dads.
We got some daddy issues.
Oh, dude. The amount of times I can think of where like a dad is in some way directly responsible for what happens in the show is ungodly often.
You're just like, who hurt you? Who hurt you?
Pretty much, dude. If it's not the main character who got fucked over by their dad, it's one of the side ones.
Got some like Doctor Who energy. It's like there's some themes, there's some writers coming back, some unresolved daddy issues. No worries.
Oh yeah. Well, especially considering literally some writers come back.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Well, not
Okay.
so like. Okay.
Spoilers.
So like obviously I mentioned that Zero One's writer comes back to write other shows, but like
Yeah.
that happens semi regularly with some other people. Like the show after Kuuga, Agito, and Kiva were written by the same writer too.
Okay, so there's at least references probably baked in, if not direct cameos.
Um, Not exactly. So they tried to do this thing from Kuuga onward, where they're like set in their own separate universes for each one, until you get to
Okay.
Decade, and then Decade decides to be Decade.
I'm doing my own thing.
Decade is the Great Destroyer. In his wake, universes die.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, that was the one where they're like, hey, we've managed to keep this franchise going without a hiatus for 10 years in a row. Let's make a rider who goes to the various universes. And when he leaves them, they die.
What the you're This is the thing that gets me most about watching media with a critical eye sometimes is the amount of times that writers don't listen to themselves. It's the amount of times where I go, it's your story. You didn't have to break your rules. You didn't have to make that rule. It's you can do whatever you want, man. It's your story.
So
Why?
there is the catch of the universes he goes to are like Funhouse Mirror universe, like Funhouse Mirror versions of the universes that led up to it. So like,
But that justifies killing it?
yes, because they were
Oh,
inferior and awful.
no, oh no, no! Now you made it worse. No,
No, this
there
is a
can't be a
universe
value
based around.
judgment.
This is a universe where we took this cool show and then we changed it into a cooking show. Let's kill it.
You don't deserve to live, cooking show.
Yep, you don't deserve to live universe where Blade is about a police procedural court drama, I guess.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Is it bad that I want to see that now?
I mean, you can watch Decade. You're gonna be real fucking confused, but you can watch it.
I mean, joining this podcast, I think I was open and ready for confusion.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about some of the other things that what else caught you watching these shows? Because obviously we've talked about like some of the motifs, like spiders showing up in most of these.
Insects,
Mhm.
um the Zero One seemed to really deviate from the rider aspect. I didn't really get a whole lot of energy. Like he wasn't a motorcyclist. I think we see him on a bicycle,
Yep.
but we don't like the bicycle's not like a part of his
Okay.
thing though.
Yep.
It's
He does
so
eventually get a motorcycle.
I mean, we did get the hyperactively destructive uh grasshopper bot
Hmm.
in that, but I don't know. Like I kind of again, I was still looking out for like speed racer levels of the rider aspect of this has got to be a narrative point.
So fun fact about that is, so over time, Japan's laws about motorcycle safety have become more strict. So,
Even to production companies,
yep.
like
So it's
what?
harder to shoot footage of people on motorcycles now. So they have to
I,
tone down the motorcycle aspect of Kamen Rider.
does Kamen Rider also have an anime version?
Uh,
Because then you could get away
yes.
with it. It's not a
So
real motorcycle.
there is one series, Kamen Rider Double, but the double is spelled just W. And
Wait, so it's not Kamen Rider W. It's Kamen Rider Double.
Yep.
represented with a W.
Yep.
How? Okay. 0% chance I would get that right on the rip. Like,
So I'm gonna just.
why?
So here's another Kamen Rider name. I'm gonna spell
I
it
love
for
how
you.
this just becomes like, yeah, we're gonna watch this 4 episodes. Talk about the other bits of the series
Yep.
first.
Yep. I'm gonna spell this series' name for you. I just want you to tell me how you would pronounce it.
I'm so dyslexic. This is gonna be really bad. Let's go.
No, you'll be fine.
I
Kamen
don't think
Rider. So Kamen
Okay.
Rider.
Yeah.
The first letter of this character's specific name, O.
Okay.
Then there's another O.
Oh.
And then there's one final O. How would you pronounce that?
There's no consonants. Is it like, okay, at this point I have several choices. It could be one long vowel sound of ooh. It could be 3 syllable broken down version and it could be a long sound or a short sound like oh or ooh or some combination of the two. Is there a hyphen or an apostrophe somewhere like ooh or
Nope.
is it 000? Like, there's so
Nope.
many. I don't have any idea.
Do you want it? You want the answer?
Yes, I'm tagging in. Tag me in.
Kamen Rider O's.
Because there's several.
Yep. O's.
There's another way. You could have just done like a big O and then a little S. Like
Yep.
O's, like several.
Well, it kind of works. His thing is he has
Are there
3.
3 or are there 5? There's 25 of them probably by the series name. I don't
So
have any idea.
he has the 3 O's for his name, and he takes 3 medals, which are circular shaped, and inserts them into his belt to transform.
Okay.
So it's a visual call to like his transformation device.
I love how you have to know that going in, or you go, I'm not sure why this is called this. Let's find out.
I mean, he showed up in a movie
Which is
before
fine.
he shows up in a movie before his actual show starts.
Oh, okay.
That's actually how a lot of Kamen Rider works now. Is like they'll show up in a movie before they get their own show as like a cameo.
So it's not a Kamen Rider movie. It's they appear as cameos in other properties.
Well, no. So like O's shows up in the Kamen Rider Double movie because Double comes before O's. Or like Forze, who was the one after O's, shows up in O's movie as a cameo.
Okay, wait. Forze, is that like it just ZE 4 times? Like
No, so this one is FOURZE.
No, I'm just being an ass.
Yep. I mean, some of them make sense. Like this is Ghost, and it's spelled Ghost.
I don't know, man. You've thrown a wrench at me. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. You could have spelled Ghost any number of ways.
Oh yeah, 100%. So anyway, getting back to the shows we've watched because we've taken this fucking just complete veer off course. So obviously you talked about like the humor for Zero One. Did that strike you as odd given the other 3 seeming more serious?
Yeah, honestly, Zero One felt completely outside of what the other ones were. Like Kuuga was kind of lighthearted, and I actually think Kuuga was my favorite, because it kind of struck a good balance.
Mm-hmm.
I think between the two, whereas I was really taken out a lot by Zero One's comedy. It felt very almost forced on occasions.
Yeah.
Also, I 100% have that exact Carhartt jacket that the Kuga's protagonist wears. I literally have that exact Carhartt jacket.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna send you something. I'm gonna put something in general for you to see because Kuuga has weirdly a very, very mainstream meme that has like gotten outside of Japan and like is pretty common. I'm gonna post
Ha,
this in
ha.
I'm gonna post this in the Mega Monster chat.
Yeah, go for it. I'm ready.
One sec. All right, here we go. And for the folks at home, here you go.
What? Oh no. I don't think here's something I don't think we should have ever shown to Josh.
Yeah, he's gonna have
Power
fun
of
with that.
friendship.
And this gun I found. Okay, so that does though tie into something that I liked about Zero One. Uh, so in Zero One's first episode, there's a character who wears a hood, who is a mysterious, shadowy figure. If I'm
Oh,
remembering right,
there's
does,
two of them.
yes, but doesn't one of them just straight up cap a person?
Bro, that was the most metal shit I had seen all day because he's literally watching Kamen Rider fight and is cackling madly. One of his own creations comes up and tries to attack him. He doesn't break his smile. He continues to laugh, like does like this subversion move, pulls out a gun in one swift motion, blows his brains out, and keeps laughing, chucks him aside, keeps laughing, puts it back in his holster. I'm like, oh, what? That dude, that whole that if it was a blink and you miss it, character development for that guy that you needed to see.
Oh yeah, no. So, fun fact about that character: he is my favorite character in that show.
I was it was so like I he keeps saying that, you know, we need to eradicate humanity. So like, is he an AI? We don't know yet, but he could be one of us, one of the meat sacks that doesn't like humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but dude's got spider skills.
Oh yeah.
He's got like spider skills with the Punisher's mind.
Is he the spider for that show?
Oh shit!
No, he's
He
not.
was in the first episode. Oh
He's not.
shit!
He's not. He's not the
Oh
spider.
damn it!
I had
There's
to give you
gotta be
that.
a spider. Nick, where's the spider?
But yeah. So let's see. What else would be a good one to hit on? So obviously Kuuga was the one that you thought was like the one out of the four you would probably check out.
Yeah,
What?
I think it was my favorite. I think I would also enjoy watching Zero One, but yeah, I think Kuga was the one that felt like my top pick.
That's fair. Um, so let's talk a little bit about. So this wouldn't be something that you've seen yet, but let's hit on the idea of secondary riders, because in a way, all of them but Kuga have a secondary rider in it.
So
Another Kamen
are these
Rider.
also powered up people as well?
So
Like they become riders?
yep. So from the first Kamen Rider, uh, they introduced the concept of another rider showing up at some point. That there's more than one Kamen Rider in a show.
Okay.
They did that for the first Kamen Rider out of necessity because, fun fact, the guy who plays Hongo, the rider in Kamen Rider, got real fucking hurt riding the motorcycle. And so they had to introduce a new Kamen Rider to take over for the rest of the run of the show.
And apparently new legislation.
Yep. Yeah, so from there, that established a precedent that they could introduce like another Kamen Rider or in a lot of cases for shows. More than
Well,
one
because like
Kamen Rider.
they set up in those first two, Kamen Rider and Kamen Rider Black, that it's humans that have been augmented to have cyborg proportion limbs and
Hmm.
and whatnot to make to augment their humanity.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, that seems plausible. Though the fact that what was it, Gorgon or whatever the shit, they apparently can't keep their creations under wraps. Like
Yep.
they've got a pretty leaky system. Uh, but I can't remember in Kuuga and Zero One, isn't it like alien tech
Well,
or like it's advanced research tech in Zero One.
yeah. And actually, you see the setup for the secondary rider in the first episode of Zero One. Because remember, that one cop goes back and grabs like that weird looking gun before he shoots the rampaging Humagear behind the lady cop.
Oh yeah, is it the moderately long haired cop guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So that gun is his transformation device, and he becomes the
Oh,
secondary rider.
he gets a gun and I get a GPU.
Yep.
How rude.
Oh yeah, no, that happens in a bunch of shows where like the
This
coolest one is usually like the one that like the secondary rider gets, or the tertiary one.
Yeah, you get like a holster and a gun. I have to put a freaking 4090 on my belt.
Yep.
That also accepts cassette tapes. Do you want
Yep.
to explain that? No.
Oh, just wait. It gets fucking ridiculous with some of them. But yeah, so I want you to take a stab at what you think, like how you think they would establish a secondary rider for for these shows that you watched. Because obviously I said Kuuga doesn't like have a secondary rider. It has the setup for their. There's a character who has a lot in common with Kuuga, but he never becomes a rider.
Yeah, because I mean, in Zero One, it's almost obviously the brother.
Well, not Zero One. I think you mean.
Or was that Black?
Yeah, it was Black.
That's what. Yeah. No,
Yep.
that's right.
Shadow
So
Moon. Yeah.
I was thinking that for Black. God, for the first one though. I said no. I wasn't really thinking of a companion, but I guess it's the. I guess it could be any of the like the professor that was. I can't remember what his character was, but like
Tachibana
the
San.
guy. Which one?
Tachibana. Who
Yeah,
he was
I think
also in
so.
Ultraman. He was the leader of the Defense Force in Ultraman.
Was he really?
Yep. Yep. The
Okay.
That guy got cast in a bunch of different shows all around the same time.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I almost want Iz to be the secondary writer in Zero One though, but she almost is feeling like the Alfred Q role, right?
I mean, do you want me to spoil some of Zero One for you?
I mean, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
So the entire series, she does not get to become a Kamen Rider,
Oh.
and then in the movie, she does.
What?
Yep. Then in the movie that takes place after so that was due to Zero One was shot during COVID. COVID happened
okay.
during Zero One, so they had to shorten production time on it and change some things around. So what was supposed to be the final arc of the show was instead condensed down into a movie.
God, why is everything Firefly?
Yep. So yeah, she becomes a Kamen Rider in the movie. She becomes Kamen Rider 02.
Oh, okay. So there's only What?
Oh, dude, there's so many Kamen Riders in that show.
Why did she get Zero too?
It's a whole thing. Eventually, uh, Aruto gets like a different like driver belt, and instead of being Zero One, he becomes Zero Two. But then he goes back to being Zero One with like another thing, and then he like passes that along to her, and she becomes Zero Two.
Here, take my lightsaber.
Yep. So there's Zero One and Zero Two.
Okay.
But we get like a bunch of other cool ones, like there's Vulcan and Valkyrie and Hirobi.
Cool names.
Raijin, I think, is one too.
I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting more kaiju stuff, but this wasn't it.
Yep. No, this is. I mean, Zero One is the one that like departs the most because like all the monsters are robots.
Oh, really? Exclusively robots?
Yep. They are all Humagears of one kind or another. They're all AI of one kind or another.
Really going in hard against AI.
Yep.
Someone's got to.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So which one do you think had the best designs for enemies? Because you didn't like. You obviously saw like the Spider-Man designs, and you saw like some of the troopers for some of these shows too.
I think I really enjoyed the spider designs from Black. As much as I didn't like the robed priests, I think that probably had the most dedication to costume design. Zero One was also all right. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't really. I think the first one probably had the least amount of costume effort.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think honestly, Black was probably more like, because they didn't make the, if I remember correctly, in Black the spider creatures were like a group of them. Yeah, I think I liked Black's costuming, and the way they put the antenna on the bike was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
The little dirt bike. Also, like, I think if I was gonna like cosplay one of them, I really liked his helmet design with like the stripes on it.
Yeah, Black's
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I liked actually really liked all about his costume, like with the gloves down to the pauldrons, everything. I thought it was really fun.
And you can kind of see like the organics underneath the black parts. Like if you look closely, you can see like it looks organic underneath there. Like he's been transformed into some sort of grotesque monster underneath the outer shell, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder how hard it was to see out of those helmets to do the acting.
Dude, there's some of them that were hard to act in, apparently. Like
most of the kaiju stuff has got to be incredible. Like the thing that I think I liked least about Kuuga's spider creature was that I could very clearly see the actor's eyes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, that was unfortunate. I think that was just an unfortunate prop or costuming, for lack of better words. But like, they kind of had they didn't really disguise the human actor's eyes, and they put like the orb eyes on the forehead, which would have worked had I not been able to see where clearly the human's eyes were.
Yeah. I will say
just a nitpick. If I had to nitpick, that would be one.
I will say they do a better job with the bat's design. The bat in Kuuga, he has like you can't see his eyes well, you know where the actor's eyes are, obviously, because they're in the fucking nose, because the nose takes up its entire face.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not uncommon. But like I'm just imagining watching all the episode 2s next to each other. It's just like, it's the same episode.
Yep. Oh, dude, there's some I will make the argument that Kuga's episode 2 is like it blows some other shows episode 2s out of the water. Like that's where you really get a lot of like development for how Kuga's going to work going forward.
Sure.
Like it I feel like his is where like he really gets the idea of who he wants to be as a hero going from that point, whereas like
Oh, okay. So it like sets the stage moving forward.
yeah, and like it gives him his actual form. Like you see the growing form a little bit more here and there, but like it's his dedication to like, okay, this is going to be who I'm going to be that gets him his mighty form that he goes with going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like I've said before, I think that would be worth watching the Kuga series at least.
Oh yeah. All right. So, any other thoughts you want to have before we wrap this one up?
I think Kuga had the best soundtrack. I
That's
like
right.
the like his walk-on music when he transformed. Was really fun. The music in Zero One wasn't bad either.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the soundtracks from the intro music were good. Were good. I didn't have like any complaints about any of them. They all kind of felt like 80s hype,
That's fair.
which I think was on purpose, and I
Yeah.
liked it. So, other than that, I didn't know what Kamen Rider was until I watched these. I'll probably end up watching more.
Yep. Before we wrap this up, so I did mention that the sequel to Black had a American adaptation. Like they gave that one the Power Rangers treatment.
Oh no.
I want you to look up Masked Rider, and I just
God.
want you to see if you can find the trailer for that because it's
Masked
something
Rider
else.
Black or just
Yep,
Masked Rider?
just Masked Rider. Look up the Masked Rider trailer and see if you can find it because they had like they were trying to tee that show up in Power Rangers. They had him like show up, like they teed up the idea that he's like this alien prince who can transform into like his own superhero form. I just want to see what you think of this.
I'm seeing Shin Masked Rider trailer.
Oh no, that one's good. That one's dope as fuck. You don't want to watch that one. That one's cool.
Uh, now, other if I just put in Masked Rider, I'm not getting a trailer, but I'm getting I'm getting like episode ones and
I mean,
openings.
if you want to look at episode one's opening, go for it. But that's a fucking nightmare.
Why does it look like the Brady Bunch and then there's something running across the screen?
Yes, that is the problem.
Okay,
Anyway,
all right. What?
while you're doing, you take a look at that. I'm gonna answer a phone call real quick. So, you give us your thoughts.
What is this? Oh my god. No, what?
Sorry, I was getting a call about my car. That is the correct reaction. Yes.
What did I just what? No, 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 no autoplay. No, we're not doing this. Absolutely not. Uh, uh, is it better in the original dub? Can you make what I just saw better?
No. So I will say
No.
that adaptation again, they did the Power Rangers treatment where like, so for Power Rangers, a lot of the time, like what was the Japanese like Sentai had nothing to do with what Power Rangers was. Like
Yeah.
Power Rangers was about a bunch of teenagers with attitude. The first Sentai they adapted, Zero Ranger, was about a bunch of people from the past who showed up to try to stop a wizard, well, a witch. And it was about like a bunch of people sent from the past to the future.
Those don't seem related concepts.
Nope. Yeah, no.
Why were there so many American actors in what I just saw?
Yep. No. Black RX is just a sequel to Black with like the same characters. Masked Rider was something special.
That's special, all right. That is Christmas special, all right.
Oh yeah. And then the other adaptation they had was they took Kamen Rider Ryuki, which is a somewhat dark contemplative series about what if Kamen Rider was also Highlander. Yeah, it's about Kamen Riders fighting and killing each other.
Oh,
because in the end, there can be only one.
There can be only one.
Yep. And
Uh-oh.
turned it into Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, which was they didn't want to make a show about people killing each other.
Really?
Yeah, so they
How
really tried to
weird.
retool it to make it about an invasion from the mirror world.
Really throwing some softballs there, aren't you?
Yep. Anyway, with that, we will wrap this episode. Is there anything you want to bring up before we bring this to a close?
Oh, yeah, I guess we can close out our first episode of Kamen Rider reviews. Stick
Hopefully,
around for maybe more.
I
don't
mean,
know. We'll check out our feeds for our recording schedules.
yeah, it'll. I mean, it's happening. Hopefully, I'm hoping that eventually we can get to the point where we just live stream all of our episodes as we record them. But
Be fun. That would be fun.
I also don't know if I want to do that entirely because I want to be able to make a backlog too, and that's impossible to do both.
We can little inside baseball. We can probably do a few episodes live, but probably have a more like because inside baseball we record more than once a week. We could probably do half backlog, half live,
Yeah.
and still have a healthy amount of like, hey, we're on vacation this week. We have lives too. We're adults.
Yeah. All right.
We just like our silly kaiju movies.
Yeah. The next episode we're going to record, I think we're going to do...
It's coming up, man.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Or should we do our movie on Tuesday instead of our shows on Tuesday? Because, like, the iron be hot.
I mean, that would be true. We'll workshop that with Josh. But anyway, I've been Nick. With me has been Alex, and Josh will be back soon-ish.
That's right.
When
he's fully kaiju'd up.
Yep. Anyway, we're going to call this one. So we will catch you around on the next episode.